Welcome back to the Rigroll channel, or should I say, the Rigroll Academy. Today we thought we would do a YouTube video that educated our viewers. We want you to leave here today with a bigger brain than when you came in. As humans, we have a rich history, documents and stuff. So as a scholar, I've gone to some of the most prestigious sources of information.
I'm a historian with the Rigroll Academy. I'm doing a thesis paper on the history of farts, believe it or not. First ever recorded fart was a joke in ancient Sumeria. What if you just look up farts? I thought this was a real plant. I mean, I've already done some research in this field. You know, I'm trying to write a thesis on this topic. What about the Ebers papyrus? We're a bit underfunded. This is an adult coloring program. Is that for people like me?
Local libraries and bookstores and ice caves. And I was looking for... The topic of today in Rigroll Academy would be the one action that unites us all as a human species. Something we all share, something we have in common. And that would be the fart. I was looking for artifacts to help me document the history of farts. So come along through this journey in time to see the history of farts.
I should actually fart for this video.
Documented history only goes so far, and through our search we really wanted to start at the beginning. So, when it comes to cavemen, all we have is speculation and imagery.
We have fossilized fart carved into limestone from the period that links it to the, what is it, the Cheddar Man?
Cheddar Man? Right off the bat, we already have someone cutting the cheese. Now, we will jump our journey over to Sumeria. The first ever written record of a human fart is actually a joke. Who knew comedy would be the one thing that unites us through history? The joke goes, something which has never occurred since time immemorial. A young woman did not fart in her husband's lap. Oh my god. I think that's a good joke. I didn't know Sumerians would have such a great sense of humor. I do find it kind of interesting. Why does it specify a young woman? What does it say about grandma? Gam Gam and grandpa over there at the Thanksgiving table. Gam Gam's like, come here. All right. Sauntering on over a bit to Egypt, the home of Yu-Gi-Oh! So the Egyptians had an ancient medical text called the Ebers Papyrus. So they were documenting farts for the sake of medicine and health and improving one's well-being. It seems that, to them, flatulence was an indicator of poor digestion. But the Egyptians, being the engineers that they are, I don't see why they could not have come up with perhaps a pyramid structure about yay big, and they could just kind of stick it up there and stop the farts once and for all.
There's a non-zero chance that there's a 5,000-year-old fart tucked away somewhere in a sarcophagus inside of a mummy.
Traversing over to something you guys may be a little more familiar with, the Holy Bible. That's right, there's references of farts in the very book that saves your soul. To read it, we're gonna need reading glasses and an oil lantern. Wow. This is good stuff. So in the Old Testament, there is actually a direct reference to a fart, and many historians have confirmed or speculated on this, but most seem to agree. In Judges chapter 3, verse 24, there is a character named Ehud, and he kills the fat king Eglon. Eglon. Could you ask for a better name, Charlie?
No, it's Eglon's best.
When Ehud stabs the fat king Eglon, it is written word for word that dirt came out of Eglon. And a lot of historians seem to agree that this was a fart. If dirt here in the Bible means fart, does every mention of dirt in the Bible mean fart? When it says God created Adam out of dirt, did God just fart into his hand and, Adam, you're here, stay away from my face. We're entering the classical period. That's kind of where history began, with Herodotus and ancient Greece. There's a lot of farting in my homeland. An early example in the classical era would be the ancient Greek play by Aristophanes called The Clouds. The history of farts is rich in puns. Socrates is a character in the play. One of his students questions, why do farts happen? And Socrates really puts him in his place when he says, "Don't you see how when you burp, the stomach makes noise from within? Well, a fart is merely a backwards burp." All right, Einstein, sit down. What does that mean? A fart is a backwards burp? So eating is just shitting yourself backwards? That doesn't do it for us here at the Academy. Moving on from Greece and jumping over the Aegean Sea, we are entering ancient Rome. Emperor Claudius, in the 1st century AD, he was known for codifying strange laws. Under the masquerade of being concerned about people's health, Claudius dictated that from now on, everyone will be farting at banquets. Dude, I'm trying to eat here. The law was something like everyone needs to fart at a banquet, and Claudius said, I need to be there. I want to see. I need to make sure. Just imagine, you know, when you think of Rome, you think of like people being very formal. You know, they got their togas, pass the chicken. I love bacon. Green bean casserole. Pass the hot dogs. We're leaving the classical era and delving into the Middle Ages. We're gonna have to jump over the globe a little bit. Japan never wants to be left out of the weird shit. In the Middle Ages, during the Heian period, farting contests were depicted in the scrolls known as the He-Gassin. Yeah, he's gassing all right. The names do not get better than that. This video writes itself. These scrolls showcase soldiers and people weaponizing their flatulence in insane over-the-top battles. All your favorite Dragon Ball Z, Yu Yu Hakusho, anime, all these powers started in the Middle Ages with the He-Gassin. But again, this wasn't just for humor. Apparently these stories had a political angle. You know, maybe the farts were critical of their emperors, or their leaders, or the political landscape of medieval Japan. But that being said, it must have been a blast to read. Like a real blast. Jumping back to Europe, we have medieval Europe. And now, one notorious written case of farts in the Middle Ages was in Geoffrey Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. I read these in college, actually. I don't remember any of them. I spark notes everything. And I passed. One of these stories was The Summoner's Tale. This story, in summary, is about a friar who is seeking funds to help his church. He eventually gets to this one guy's house. He's a sick man. He's ill, bedridden. The friar comes in, and the sick man says, I give, and yet I'm sick. And the friar was like, you're sick because you did not give enough. The church needs more. The man, being kind of irked by this thought, says, I have one last thing to give. It's right in my back pocket. Friar sticks his hand into the man's back pocket, and the guy's like, it's right here! Unleashes into the friar's hand. That apparently was an adequate gift for the friar, because he takes the fart and brings it all the way back to the church, and brings it to the head priest and says, he gave us a donation, but I don't know how to evenly distribute it amongst the other friars. And the head priest says, well, why don't you just put your nose up to a wheel and you can all sit around the wheel and the fart will travel down the spokes of the wheel and right into your noses. And, you know, they all got to huff a little galaxy gas of the Middle Ages right then and there. Elizabethan England, home of Shakespeare. Shakespeare wrote a lot of fiction. This is a very real situation. Edward de Vere was the 17th Earl of Oxford, and upon visiting the Queen's throne room, and he bowed in front of her, he farted. He let out a pretty nice brap. And he was so embarrassed having done that in front of the Queen that he ran. He turned around 180 degrees and started running. He did not return for 7 years. And on the 7th year, he came back. She basically said, my lord, we have forgotten the fart. We forgot. You know, kind of poking fun at him, but also saying, we all do it.
What?
Now, in 1781, we got everyone's favorite guy. He's on the $100 bill. Franklin wrote an essay titled Fart Proudly It's just called Fart Proudly. I thought there was gonna be more. In Benjamin Franklin's essay, he humorously advocated for the scientific research into reducing the smell of farts.
He was the first gastronaut.
We know Benjamin Franklin as an inventor and a scientific mind. He put a key on a kite, and perhaps now we know why. You know, farts are related to thunder, so maybe he was looking for the lightning. He was looking for the yin to his farts yang. Moving on to France, we are about to close off the early modern era with famous entertainer Joseph Pujol. Pujol was a professional flatulist. So he was famous for performing his farts on stage in front of thousands of people. And his farts could mimic sounds, play songs, and even extinguish candles. Do you think the fire department ever called on him as a volunteer firefighter? Pujol, we need you. We can't get this one out. Bring the wind. Order as much beefy crunch burritos as you can. One blow and we can get this whole city block under control. Stepping into the modern era, there's still a lot going on when it comes to farts. Farting continues to be a comedic goldmine in films, television shows, and viral videos. Farts are everlasting and ever important, and they're never going away, no matter what laws are passed, whether the church demands it or not. Farts are here to stay. Have a good day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let us know what you think. What's the best fart you've ever made? Rigroll out. They did incorporate facets of medieval thinking, relating farts to the four humors.
Imagine farting out black bile and the doctor looking at you like, oh, you're sick.